Okay, so keeping up with everything online can feel like, well, a full-time job, right? We try to cut through that noise.
Exactly. Get to the interesting bits, the stuff that actually matters.
And today, we're looking at something I know a lot of people are curious about. The new Harry Potter TV series for HBO, specifically the casting news that just dropped.
Yeah, there's been a pretty significant announcement. We've been digging into the news reports on this.
So let's get into it. The idea here isn't just to list names, but to kind of unpack what these choices might mean for the show.
Mm-hmm. What does this tell us about the direction, maybe the tone?
Let's start with who's confirmed. Who are we seeing walk through those Hogwarts doors?
Okay, so first up, Nick Frost is going to be Hagrid.
Nick Frost. Okay, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz. I can see that. He's got the warmth, hasn't he?
Absolutely. That sort of big-hearted, slightly bumbling protector vibe, it feels right.
Yeah, it does. Who else?
Then we have Janet McTeer as Professor McGonagall.
Ooh, Janet McTeer, powerful actor, Ozark, loads of great film work. She definitely brings that gravitas you need for McGonagall.
She really does, that commanding presence. And then, maybe one of the most talked about ones so far, Paapa Essiedu as Severus Snape.
Essiedu as Snape. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's intriguing. He was incredible in I May Destroy You. Very different energy than we've seen for Snape before.
It really is.
Yeah.
It suggests they might be exploring, different facets of the character. Also confirmed, Paul Whitehouse as Argus Filch.
Paul Whitehouse, the Fast Show, Gone Fishing. That's interesting. A comedic actor for Filch. Might they lean into the humor there?
Could be, or maybe find a bit more sympathy. It's an unexpected choice, definitely.
But it is. Keep going.
And of course, the big one announced back in February, I think. John Lithgow as Albus Dumbledore.
Right, Lithgow. We knew about that one. Still a fantastic get. His range is just immense.
Undeniable. And rounding out this particular batch is Luke Fallon as Professor Quirrell.
Quirrell. Okay, so Fallon. Less familiar maybe to screen audiences, more theater?
Yeah, strong stage background. Patriots, Leopoldstadt, even played Hamlet for the RSC, so he can handle complexity.
Which Quirrell definitely has, so some key staff members locked in. But the big three, Harry, Ron, Hermione.
Still waiting on those. And the report we saw mentioned the scale of that search. Apparently an open casting call drew over 30,000 submissions.
30,000. Wow, that's huge pressure to get those right.
Immense. It really speaks to how much these characters mean globally.
Okay, let's circle back to the actors confirmed. You mentioned Mick Frost, the Cornetto trilogy, Paul, Spaced. Lots of comedy, but often with heart.
Exactly. He does loyalty and sort of grounded decency really well alongside the laughs. That feels very Hagrid.
It does. And Janet McTeer, you mentioned Ozark, Jessica Jones, also Oscar nominations, right? Albert Nobbs, Wuthering Heights.
Mm-hmm. Incredible range. She can do stern, powerful, but also convey that underlying intelligence and maybe warmth that McGonagall has deep down.
Definitely need that balance. And Paapa Essiedu. I May Destroy You, Gangs of London, The Lazarus Project. He tackles really intense, emotionally complex roles.
He does, and that's what makes him such a fascinating choice for Snape. He can bring a real depth, maybe a vulnerability or internal conflict that's different.
A fresh perspective, perhaps. Okay, Paul Whitehouse. Known primarily for comedy in the UK.
A legend. The Fast Show, Harry and Paul. But like you mentioned, Gone Fishing shows a quieter, more reflective side, too.
So maybe not just the sort of slapstick caretaker. Could be more to it.
Potentially. Maybe a touch more human, less of a caricature.
And John Lithgow. Third Rock, Footloose, The Crown as Churchill. Just iconic roles across the board. And he recently won an Olivier Award, didn't he?
He did. For playing Roald Dahl on stage, Giant, it just shows he's still absolutely at the top of his game. Bringing that level of talent to Dumbledore, it says a lot.
Yeah, it signals serious ambition for the show. And Luke Fallon, the stage actor for Quirrell.
Right. Coming from that theater background, especially with Shakespeare like Hamlet, suggests he can really handle that sort of slow reveal, the internal turmoil of Quirrell.
So a real mix, established screen stars, comedy legends, serious stage actors. What are the people actually making the show saying? Any quotes?
Yeah, the showrunner, Francesca Gardner, and one of the executive producers, Mark Mylod, put out a statement. They said they were delighted with the extraordinary talent on board.
Okay. Standard stuff, maybe?
A little, but they also talked about their excitement to bring these characters to new life.
New life, okay, that's maybe the key phrase there. Suggests not just a carbon copy of the films, perhaps.
Seems that way. But they're also stressing the connection to the books. The report emphasizes it's meant to be a faithful adaptation.
Right, and J.K. Rowling is involved as an executive producer, isn't she?
She is, which for many fans wanting that faithfulness will be a big plus.
And the whole point of doing it as a series, presumably, is to get more of that book detail in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The report specifically mentions the TV format allows more breathing space.
Breathing space, yeah, compared to trying to cram everything into a 2.5-hour film.
Precisely. So more time for plot lines, character arcs, maybe subplots that got cut from the movies.
That's definitely exciting for book fans, the chance to see things fleshed out more. So what's next? More announcements soon. Any whispers?
More casting is definitely expected. And the report did mention one specific, quite juicy rumor.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
That Cillian Murphy is possibly being considered for Voldemort.
Cillian Murphy. Okay. Wow. After Oppenheimer. He certainly has the intensity. He can do chilling incredibly well.
You really can. That would be quite something. A very different feel for the Dark Lord.
Definitely one to watch. So summing up this first wave then, it's a really strong, varied cast.
Mm-hmm. A mix of acclaimed, established actors taking on these huge roles. It feels like a serious statement of intent for the series.
Absolutely. Finding people who embody the characters, but also might bring something, well, new to them. So thinking about all this, and especially that idea of breathing space, maybe the question for everyone listening is, what parts of the books, what details or storylines are you most hoping to see get that deeper exploration in a series format?
Yeah, what nuances do you hope they'll finally have the time to really dig into?
Something to ponder as we wait for the next Owl Post with more news.